Catherine Ashford had built her empire on timing. As the CEO of Ashford Technologies, she knew that success often came down to being in the right place at the right moment, making decisions while others hesitated. But on this warm Thursday afternoon, as she pulled into her circular driveway 3 hours earlier than expected, she had no idea that timing was about to teach her something entirely different. The merger meeting in San Francisco had concluded faster than anticipated. Instead of the grueling 8-hour negotiation she'd prepared for, both parties had reached agreement by noon. Catherine had caught the first flight home, looking forward to surprising her 3-year-old son Danny with an early return. She walked through the front door of her Mediterranean-style home, her black business suit still crisp despite the long day, her blonde hair perfectly styled even after the cross-country flight. The house was unusually quiet. No sounds of cartoons from the living room. No chatter from the nanny. Following her instincts, Catherine moved toward the back of the house, toward the pool area where Danny loved to play. What she saw through the sliding glass doors made her stop completely. There, beside the sparkling blue water of her infinity pool, was Miguel Santos, the building maintenance supervisor from her office complex, but he wasn't there in any official capacity. Instead, he was kneeling beside a small, plastic kiddie pool wearing his work clothes, a light blue shirt and green overalls, a baseball cap turned backward on his graying hair. And in that little pool, splashing with pure delight, was Danny. Miguel held a garden hose, creating a gentle spray of water that caught the golden afternoon sunlight. Danny, wearing his favorite rainbow swim trunks, clutched a bright yellow rubber duck and was laughing with the kind of unrestrained joy that only children can achieve. "Make it rain, Miguel," Danny giggled, holding up his little hands to catch the droplets. "Make it rain like in the jungle." Miguel's weathered face was creased with genuine happiness as he adjusted the spray, creating what did indeed look like a miniature tropical shower. "There you go, little explorer," he said in his warm, accented voice. "Just like the rainforests I used to visit back home." Catherine stood frozen, processing what she was seeing. Miguel Santos was a man she knew, only in passing. Someone who maintained the office buildings, who nodded respectfully when they passed in hallways, who had worked for her company for nearly 5 years. She knew he was reliable, quiet, and thorough in his work. But this was something else entirely. "Mrs. Ashford," Danny spotted her through the glass and waved enthusiastically. "Look, Miguel is making it rain. Come see." Miguel immediately straightened, his expression shifting to one of polite concern as Catherine stepped outside. The water continued to fall from the hose he still held, but his posture had changed from relaxed playfulness to respectful formality. "Mrs. Ashford," he said carefully, "I hope you don't mind. Your nanny had a family emergency, and she called me. She knew I sometimes help with maintenance here at your home, and she didn't want to leave Danny alone. I hope I didn't overstep." Catherine looked between Miguel and her son, trying to reconcile what she was seeing with what she thought she knew about boundaries, propriety, and the careful structures she'd built around their life. "Mommy, Miguel knows everything about water," Danny announced proudly. "He told me about fish that can fly and birds that swim underwater, and he's teaching me Spanish words for animals." "Pez," Danny added solemnly, holding up his rubber duck. "That means fish." Catherine felt something shift in her chest. Here was a man who could have simply waited for her return, could have kept Danny occupied with television or quiet games. Instead, he had created magic out of an ordinary afternoon. "How long have you been here?" Catherine asked, her voice softer than her usual executive tone. "About 3 hours," Miguel replied. "Maria, your nanny, she was very upset about leaving. Her father was taken to the hospital. I told her not to worry, that I would stay with Danny until you returned." Catherine noticed details she had missed in her initial shock. The careful way Miguel kept the water temperature comfortable for Danny, the small pile of towels he had ready nearby, the way he had positioned the little pool in the shade so Danny wouldn't get too much sun. "He's been telling me about your work," Miguel continued, glancing at Danny fondly. "About computers and how they help people talk to each other all around the world. Very smart boy." "Miguel worked with computers too," Danny chimed in. "Before he came here, he built websites for schools." Catherine looked at Miguel with new attention. "You have experience in technology?" Miguel nodded, a slight flush coloring his weathered cheeks. "I was a systems analyst back in El Salvador. When I came to this country, well, sometimes credentials don't transfer easily, but I'm grateful for the work I have." The simple dignity in his words struck Catherine more powerfully than any business presentation she'd heard in months. Here was a man who had rebuilt his life in a new country, who had taken whatever honest work was available, and who was now spending his afternoon ensuring that her child felt safe and loved. Danny had resumed his play, oblivious to the adult conversation happening above his head. He was now making his rubber duck dive and surface in the shallow water, providing sound effects for each movement. "Miguel," Catherine said slowly, "would you mind if I asked you something?" "Of course." "Are you happy doing maintenance work?" The question seemed to surprise him, but he considered it seriously. "Happy is complicated," he said thoughtfully. "I am grateful to have work that lets me provide for my family. I am proud that I do it well. But," he paused, watching Danny play, "I do miss working with my mind as well as my hands." Catherine made a decision that would surprise her own board of directors. "What would you say to coming in next Monday to talk with our IT department? We're expanding our systems integration team, and we need someone with both technical skills and practical experience." Miguel's eyes widened. "Mrs. Ashford, that is very kind, but I don't want you to feel obligated because you spent your afternoon making sure my son was happy and safe?" Catherine interrupted gently. "Miguel, obligation has nothing to do with this. I'm offering because I think our company would be fortunate to have someone with your combination of skills and character." As if sensing the importance of the moment, Danny stood up in his little pool and threw his arms wide. "Group hug," he announced with 3-year-old authority. And so Catherine found herself, still in her expensive business suit, being drawn into a wet, joyful embrace that included her son, a rubber duck, and a man who had just redefined her understanding of what qualified someone to be trusted with the things that mattered most. Later, after Miguel had carefully dried and dressed Danny, after they had shared an impromptu dinner of grilled cheese sandwiches that Miguel prepared with the same attention to detail he brought to everything else, Catherine reflected on the day's unexpected turn. She had built her success by recognizing talent, by seeing potential that others missed. But somewhere along the way, she had forgotten to look beyond the obvious places, beyond the expected credentials, beyond the assumptions that came with position and protocol. As Miguel prepared to leave for the evening, Danny ran to give him one more hug. "Will you come back and make it rain again?" "If your mama says it's okay," Miguel replied, smiling. Catherine looked at her son's bright, trusting face, then at Miguel's quiet dignity, and realized that the most important decisions weren't always the ones made in boardrooms. "I think," she said, "we can arrange that." And as the sun set over the peaceful backyard, Catherine understood that coming home early hadn't just changed her day. It had changed her perspective on what home really meant, the end.